Hello, welcome to the video lecture series on MATLAB fundamentals. The whole concept of MATLAB is based on the product of MathWorks, which is called as MATLAB. So here we are going to learn about working with the interface of MATLAB, how the GUI is built and how to use the various features of MATLAB. This includes entering the commands, creating the variables, analyzing the vectors and matrices. It is because every entity which we enter into this tool is considered as a matrix. Then we will look at the visualizing the vector or the matrix. We also look at the working with the data files, various data types possible, and we try to perform the automation of the commands by writing the scripts. Then we look at the writing up of the programs, right, with the logic and the flow control, right, and ultimately writing up the functions. So to start with, we directly jump into the concepts of MATLAB by looking at the introduction first. So as I mentioned, it is a product of MathWorks, and basically it is based on the matrix, right? As you all know now, every entity that we try to use here, maybe it is a plot, it maybe is a graph, right? It may be a variable, right? And each and everything we use here is going to be considered as a matrix. You are going to see that soon. Basically, it is a powerful and very efficient computational tool in terms of mathematics, right? So that is because it considers everything as matrix. So we know that the matrix calculation becomes pretty easy and pretty straightforward whenever we use, right, them. Now, in addition to the mathematical performance, it also supports a lot of graphics. There is a huge support in terms of the built-in graphics, so which helps us in uh, what you call as a data visualization. Again, this is at the ultimate level in MATLAB, right? Because of these two, whenever you have some data, you can visualize that, you can do a lot of mathematics over there. So experimentation is supported, exploration is supported, and even the discovery, right, which leads us the discovery of new things. So basically you can consider MATLAB is the best tool for R&D. Again, the MATLAB is built up in such a way that, right, every field of science and technology, right, you can identify over there, and the specific section of a field is considered as a toolbox. Okay, right. So the tools required for each of the field, like automotive, maybe signal processing, image processing, maybe related to communication, the deep learning, etc. Everything is including the biological aspects, and the also for the mechanical, right, etc. Everything is divided, right? Everything is available in the form of a box, so we call it as a toolbox, right? What basically is a toolbox? It's a collection of functions, right, related to a specific field that is available. So huge number of toolboxes are available with built-in functions. And if because of all this now, anyway, we know that there are several tools available, like uh, people use different languages to write the programs. Maybe Python, somebody uses C, somebody wants to use a Java, etc., right? So there is a support for that, in the sense we can integrate, right, the programs in MATLAB and convert that into any other language, or you can actually import the code written in other language such as Python, right? So that is possible, easy to integrate with the other language, which is a huge plus. Because of all these characteristics, the faster deployment of algorithms and applications are possible if we use MATLAB. Now let's look at the basic structure of MATLAB in the form of say block diagram. All right, so we can see here the MATLAB on the top, right, is denoted by its beautiful symbol over here. This represents the whole MATLAB, whatever MATLAB can do. Now, basically, we can write the program. So MATLAB programming language lies below that. And we have the user written functions and the built-in functions. These are common for each and every language. Now, what is special, right? So we already know that there are several uh, fields in which you can apply. You can use MATLAB, right, for doing the research work. So every field, right, in every field we can apply MATLAB in MATLAB specialities in three different verticals. So first one is graphics, then computation, then the external interfacing. Right, these are the three basic characteristics which we want to apply. Now, irrespective of which field we are going to apply, we use the MATLAB for. The graphics supports you in terms of the 2D visualization of the data, 3D visualization of the data, then coloring, lighting, color representation, color processing, performing the animations, image, video, and the audio related to the data. If it exists, we can definitely we can use it. Okay. Very similarly, we have the computations coming up. MATLAB considers everything as matrix and supports the computation in terms of linear algebra, data analysis, right? We can fit the polynomials, interpolations, solutions of ODE. These are only few topics which we have written here, but it can be extended to every field in mathematics, everything we can do. Then the third vertical is the external interface, right? Irrespective of the field where you are using this MATLAB for, right? We can use these external interfaces, right, to interface MATLAB code with any other type of code. For example, C, C++, Java, .NET, Excel, and the Python, etc. Right? So I have written only few of them here. Definitely, we can use any other language. Moving ahead, let's look at the MATLAB default layout. So, so whenever we open the MATLAB in the default format, in the sense you just have installed MATLAB and you open it, this kind of window comes into picture. Okay, so that is, so you can see there are four empty spaces divided over here. So the leftmost one is the current folder, right? So the current folder is the one where we can find out the present location from where the MATLAB is loading the scripts or the commands, right? And the data, right? So you might have imported some data, right? Which will be present over here. So current folder is the one from where the MATLAB runs basically. Okay, then the rightmost space is the workspace where we can see what all the variables we are handling right now, right? With there may be 10 variables created, 100 variables created for the current program which runs. We can see every such variable over here. Then at the bottom you can see the command window. The command window is where we can write the commands and execute one by one. So MATLAB basically has two ways of running the program. One, you write the whole program and you run. Okay. The second option is you can enter the command one by one and you can run. So when you opt for the second method, the command window is the place where we enter the commands one by one, and as soon as I press enter, it will run. That's the first use of command window. Command window is actually used by MATLAB for another purpose, that is to show you the results, right? Irrespective of what mode of running the program we have chosen, right? MATLAB shows the results obtained always in the command. So two uses of command window. And then we go back to the middle one. This is the scripts. So here the whole program can be written, the functions which we want to use can also be written and saved, right? So as and when we save a new script, that script comes into the current folder saying that okay, so you are using this and it is present in the current folder. So now let's go back to the actual MATLAB screen. This is running on my PC, so you can see that we have on the left hand side, this is the current folder. There is a particular file. There's a folder called dataset. Right? This actually contains the dataset of a particular project. All right, we can see the untitled screen over here, right? And we can run the codes written over here, right? It gets, if I save it, it comes to the current folder. See, and on the right hand side, you can see the workspace, nothing has been created. We'll be using it shortly, okay? And the command window, which is empty. So the default window looks like this for MATLAB, and I prefer using it in the default mode itself. I don't want to change because all the four aspects, the current folder, scripts, workspace, and the command window are very useful for us. That's why I prefer keeping it in the same way. All right, now, so let's move further. The next topic is, this is the beginning of the concepts related to that. Let's see how to create a variable, right, using the command window, right? So this comes under the desktop basics of MATLAB. As you see a GUI over there of MATLAB, how to use that and create some variables. So we use commands in the command window to write the commands and to see the results over there. So now let's say I want to create a is equal to 10, right? So what I do, I simply go to command window. After the double arrow, right, I press a equal to 10. So what happens over there, as soon as you press enter, MATLAB creates a variable by name a, and we will be able to see that a and its value in the workspace, because workspace is where you have the variables. You can see all the variables present. Plus, the command window will display a result because you asked for creation, right? It should show you a result. Okay, so let's look at that now. I say a is equal to 10, right? So two things to observe. One is in the workspace. So we can see a variable has been created with the name as a and value equal to 10. Also, MATLAB shows you the result. A is equal to 10. Like this, maybe we'll create a few more variables, and b is equal to 20 and press enter. So you can see b is created in the workspace. It also shows the results. So c is equal to, so this is how we create the variables and assign the values. Now you can also perform the mathematical operations such as c is equal to a plus b. So just see, c is right 30 now because 10 plus 20, right? And even I can do d is equal to, say, cosine value of, right, c, possible. So mathematical operations are allowed in the command window. You can enter and you can obtain the results like this. Now there's a question. So for each and every command that we enter over here, MATLAB keeps on showing you the results. Is there a method to suppress this? What if I don't want to show the result? Because a is equal to 10, when I enter, I am very sure that MATLAB will create a variable a equal to 10. I don't want to see that, right? So b equal to 20, etc. What if I don't want to see, right? So that is possible. We can actually uh, do that by using a semicolon at the end. You can see here, if the semicolon is used at the end of a command, results will not get displayed on the command window. You can suppress the result being shown. All right, so let's do that. Let me create, say e is equal to say 40, but you see I use a semicolon at the end. Now observe, workspace, in the work, when I press enter, as soon as I press enter, the workspace will create a variable e, but the result will not be shown e equal to 40 in the command window. All right, so just see, e is created. Say f is equal to, say I want to perform this c minus e, whatever, right? So I press, so you see f is created with the value minus 10, right, in the workspace, but it's not being shown here. So things to remember, if you want to visualize the results, you don't press a you don't enter a semicolon at the end of the command. Otherwise, as soon as you enter that, we get the results displayed over there. All right, now let's switch back to the normal window, and let us say I want to use this. Okay, so if I want to enter multiple commands over there, what should happen, right? If I want to enter multiple commands, right, at once, and then I run all the commands simultaneously, right? So in the sense, I want to enter a b c d etc, all the commands all together, and I want to run in a single step, not as now you see that as I enter a equal to 10, it runs, it will be created, the variable will be created, and we can see the result. Next, when I enter b equal to something, right, it runs like that. That is not what I want now. So I want to run everything, right, at once, right, but on the command window itself. So let's see that. So before that, let me introduce two very useful commands. One is clear, right? So as soon as you enter clear and press enter, right, the workspace variables will get erased, right? So just observe, I have entered the clear here. So workspace is empty now. It clears everything. All right. Then uh, the clearing of the command window is also possible. That is CLC. So just enter. It's gone. Okay. So now our next objective is, right, to enter multiple statements in the command and run all of them at once. So this is what I mean. When now we observe, so this is what we did now. A is equal to 10. As soon as I enter, it runs. How come, uh, how to identify that it's running now? You can see that workspace creates that variable, means it is running, right? It ran. So as soon as I enter b is equal to 20 and I press enter, that also, right, you can see it's ran. So I don't want that now. When I enter a equal to something, then I have to enter b something, then c, then d, like that. I keep on writing the commands, and when I decide to run all of them at once, it should run. So this is what I want to do now. So I'll clear again and perform CLC. All right, now let's look at the way to do this. So to enter multiple statements on multiple lines before running any of the statement, you have to use shift enter instead of pressing an enter, right? So don't press enter at the end of each statement. You use a shift and enter. So how does it change the way of running the code, we'll see now. Okay, so let me enter the same codes. A is equal to 10, right? I don't want to visualize, means I put a semicolon, but instead of pressing enter, I use shift and enter. You see the thing now, it's not running. I write b is equal to 20, right? So you see, I shift enter, it went to the next line. So c is equal to, I can write a minus b, but now let's assume I want to see the value of this variable c on my screen, so I don't enter the semicolon. Right, go to the next. D is equal to, say, this is a plus b. All right, now I want to visualize, say, c and d on my screen, right? Right. Observe, now I don't enter shift plus enter. I'm going to enter the enter key only. I'm just going to use the enter key. So as soon as I press that, observe, workspace creates all the 4 variables at once. Okay, so I'm doing that now. Yes. So this is a technique that can be used to write multiple commands over there in the command window and run all of them simultaneously. Okay, then next, let's move on to the array, right? So let us assume that I want to create the array, right? How to create the array? So we can use the square brackets to enter the array. The first idea is to create a row vector. It's like one row, multiple columns. We can create it in that way. Or we have another option, like you can go ahead and create a vector, right, which is a column vector. Like we have one column, multiple rows. All right, let's look at that now. See, I'll clear use CLC. Now say a is equal to, open a square bracket and enter the variable 1 2 3 4. This is one way of creation of a row vector. So okay, I don't want to suppress the output now, I just want to see them. So it creates a row vector of 1 row 4 columns, and the values are 1 2 3 4. Now the same thing can also be used, uh, same thing can also be done in a different way, where the space can be replaced by comma, right? So this is 1 2 3 4. Okay, so just see, it creates the same. So there MATLAB does not distinguish between the space and comma whenever it comes, uh, whenever we look at the creation of an array. Okay, now how to create a column matrix if I want. So C is equal to, let's go for my first row, first element is this. I want to go to a new row now. So that is indicated by a semicolon, right? So 2 3 4. Okay, so just enter, you see it's like this. So when we enter this, right, just to make the entry more readable, we can do this technique. So d is equal to, say, 1, I press semicolon, but I go to a new line, right? I can write it in this way. So 1 2, right? Then we have 3 and 4. Oh, sorry, just a second. Okay, and 4. So close this, and now you see it still creates same, right? So this way of entering, right, makes your code more readable, right? It makes sure that, okay, you are entering a column, right? uh, Still MATLAB you understands that notation. So this is how you create row vector and a column vector. Now how to create a matrix, right? Let's go for a square matrix. Let's say E is equal to, I have to, let's say, assume I want to enter a 3 cross 3 matrix, right? So 3 cross 3, you enter row at once. So this is first row, 1 2 3. Then I want to go to a new row. New row indicates this way, semicolon, then enter 4 5 6. New row, 7 8 9. Close it. Like, okay, I don't want to suppress the output, so let's check this. So you can see it's created. Now definitely we can use the E is equal to, right? So I can still enter, let me enter a different matrix. So I'll use, say, F is equal to, say this is 2 3 4, right? I will go to a new row and then I start entering, right? 3 4 5. Okay, go to a new row and enter, close this. So you can see it still runs in the same way, right? More readable way of entering the matrix. Okay, now, so whenever we create the matrix, so whenever you want to save some space, right? So you want to preserve some space, okay? Like we do in C program, right? Whenever we, uh, if you pre-assign the space for a variable, it's faster. It's going to run faster. So that's possible. It is easy to create the matrix with all zeros, right? For that, what we can use here is, say, let me create a matrix. G is equal to, there is a command, there is a built-in command called zeros. All right, so this is zeros of, enter the size of the matrix you want to create, like 4 comma 5. It actually creates 4 rows, 5 columns of zeros. See, right? Very useful in MATLAB. Also, there is another function, built-in command called as ones. So that is ONES. You are going to create ones in the same fashion. Okay, so this is 2 rows, 3 columns. So it creates 2 rows, 3 columns of ones. Very useful. Okay, so let me tell you another uh, key aspects in the command window. So you come to the command window, right, and you press the up arrow, right? You see that all the previous commands can be seen. Whatever we have entered, right? It's going to, we can see this, right? It also goes to your previous day commands you entered in the previous day. So this is today and this is the previous day's commands, right? Now there is another trick. If you know what variable you are looking for example b, right, what you can do, you can enter b here and then press the up arrow. You see it directly goes to the b's you used earlier. This is also very helpful, just to check what all the variables you created, what values were assigned earlier, etc. You see, if you press B, it just moves to B. Like that, you create, you use, if you know the specific variable name which you want to explore, right? Its past values, you can simply enter that. If you know the variable name, you don't know the variable name means no problem. You can simply keep pressing up arrow and uh, you can go through all the variables, right, that were used in the command window in the past. All right, so that's all for this class. We will resume in the next class.